It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey folks, today we are taking a look at a post-apocalyptic survival game called Posthuman. In Posthuman here, you play a human and a group of humans, or solitaire, who is traveling to a promised compound where you'll be safe from the outside world and safe especially from mutants that roam the wasteland and will attack you on sight. And not just that, but they will turn you into a mutant from basically infecting you as they attack you, scratch you, things like that. And so the game has a lot of things going on. I'm going to give you a pretty simple, hopefully, overview of what's going on in the game, but I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty or anything like that. Just be aware there will be a lot more to the game than what I'm about to show you. So with that in mind, let's take a look at Posthuman. In the game, each player is a human survivor after some post-apocalyptic event, and you are traveling through the wasteland trying to make it all the way here to a safe compound and avoid being, taking scars from mutants along the way who will attack you, because if you take too many scars, it's possible for you yourself to turn mutant, and then your objective in the game changes where you are attacking the other surviving humans. You are going to have your own character. You are going to be playing an action each round, having encounters depending on where you are and how much you like to advance. And so the journey gets harder and harder. You are going to be building a map in front of you using these tiles and more tiles drawn from these decks here, where you are going to be playing these and expanding where you can go, things like that. And so throughout the game, again, collecting goods, fighting, building where you're going, and hoping to survive so that you can win Posthuman. So here we have one of the characters in the game. This could be your character. The character itself will tell you here on the other side your starting stats, and you're going to put those in these slots on your player board. And those are going to, obviously, throughout the game, give you benefits and hindrances. It's going to affect how good you are at evading combat, how good you are at melee fighting, how good you are at shooting. And then you are going to set your starting health, your starting mind here. Down here is your hunger track. And then the card here also tells you, besides other things, some starting equipment that you are going to have. In this case, he has a baseball bat and a flare and a pistol. And so you'll put these over here next to your character. You are going to put tokens on your backpack to denote how many things you are carrying as well, based on what the card tells you. So baseball bat, for example, there's two spots there that are filled in. And so that's how much room it would take on your backpack, etc. Flare, nothing. Handgun, 1. So if that was all that I was carrying, I would have to fill in that many spaces on my player board, just so that you know exactly how much you can carry, alright? So, throughout the game, you are going to be following a few different phases, a few different steps. The first thing that happens in the game is the event resolution for the starting player only. Only one person needs to do this. And they are going to grab a card from the event deck here. They're going to flip it, and they are going to resolve whatever it says. Some of them have, at the bottom here, a different effect if you're playing solitaire. And some of them say that they are seasonal events, which are placed right here. And you keep it in effect until a new seasonal event comes into play. Otherwise, you would discard this, okay? So that's the first thing, is triggering an event. Once that's done, then everybody has to eat. And unless you are at a place that says you don't have to eat, then you have to eat. And you are going to be consuming food that you start with. My character here says he started with 1, so I would give him one of these. He also started with some ammo, which also is these little tokens here. And so my character would eat, I would consume this, get rid of it, okay? Where we all start at the beginning of the game, no one has to eat. If you cannot eat or choose not to, then you decrease this, and you are going to start taking hits to your mind and to your health, okay? So that's the next step. After that, you declare your action. Everybody's going to do this simultaneously. There are 4 possible actions, and you are going to then trigger them in the order that they normally would happen in, okay? So here they are. The first one's camping. That allows you to stay where you are, basically, and set up camp. You're going to regain some health. You are, if you are in a safe house, you get 1 more health or 1 more morale. And then if you have any relevant skills on equipment, then you get to do those as well, as long as the terrain allows you to do that. After that, you have forage, which is going to allow you to grab some food, to find whatever is available on that tile, and then that tile no longer allows you to forage. You put a token on it, looks like this, and that marks that tile in front of you, which I'll be showing you those tiles in a minute, as having been completed. That lets you know you can no longer get anything from that tile. The way this works is you are going to flip over a supply card. It's right here. And depending on the land type you're on, so let's check one of these tiles here. Okay, there we go. It shows you that it's fields. There's a little symbol up here. It looks like grain, and then over here is that. And so you know you're getting food and you get equipment. So you're going to draw food and you get one of these equipment cards. Let's see what we got. We have a scope for a gun. Sweet. So that's the idea. That's how this works. You forage. You find some stuff, and then you mark that tile, can no longer do anything else there. You do need to complete a tile before you can forage, but I'll show you that a little later on. And then number 3 here is scouting, which quite simply lets you look ahead, draw some of these tiles, look at them, and place them in places next to you now so that you don't walk into some place blindly. And then lastly is moving itself, which allows you to walk somewhere, either someplace you've seen, or you just grab a tile off the top of the stack here and hope you get something that you're happy with, okay? So that's pretty much it. Again, these have numbers in the order in which they trigger. Everybody picks one thing, you all do it, and once that's done, then the round is pretty much over unless you have mutant players, and then they would take an action. I'm not really going to go into mutant actions. Just to keep the explanation simple, but be aware, again, they have their own things they can do, and the ability to hurt the humans and kind of fight back. Besides all of that, you are also allowed to, by the way, trade. If you are in the same terrain type as someone else, you can trade with them before your actions go off. But that's basically it. So it's a little later in the game, and I just chose the move action, and I have encountered an enemy, and I want to draw from level 2 because I'm at that level and I wish to proceed. You can always, when you encounter new cards, draw from levels below where you are on the main track, but you don't get to proceed forward on that track, okay? So I'm going to draw from here. Now, there are a couple of possibilities here. I could draw something like this, which is just an obstacle. I deal with whatever it says, whatever challenge it sets for me, and then I am done with it. Okay, so in this case, this one says roll a speed test. If you fail, -2 health. If you succeed, keep this card as XP. XP in this game, by the way, lets you do a couple of things, but one really good one is if you save it up, it allows you to increase one of your main statistics up here, which is excellent. So that's one thing I might encounter, okay? Or I might encounter a baddie. Now, I specifically chose one here, which is pretty simple, just to give you a basic overview of the combat. But this bottom text down here is blank on this guy versus on this one. So this is the one I will be fighting here. There you go. This one, lots going on in there, as you can see. So, sometimes the text is actually a little too much, too small. So we're going to fight this guy. So first thing we do is we have a combat round starts with shooting if I want to shoot, okay? I have to figure out who's faster, and then they're going to shoot first. So this guy's speed is 3, my speed is 2. He's actually faster than me, and that lets me know he rolls 3 dice. There's 3 little blue dots there, so he's going to roll to attack me, and then I have to figure out what these things do. So I got 2 question marks and a distance 3. His distance 3 is not going to work because he shoots at distance 1. He's not accurate enough for this. And the question mark means 1 hit. So he hits me for 2. So that's my health, boom, boom, down by 2. Okay? Now I shoot him back if I choose, and I have to spend ammo to do that. On my pistol here, I have a red dot sight that I got earlier in the game. And it simply allows me to attach it to a pistol or something like that, and I get to re-roll a blue die if I choose once per round. So I am going to roll, and I roll 1 for the pistol. I'm really good at rolling, so I roll 3 more. So I roll 4 dice. All right, and let's see what I got here. Again, I check the symbols. This is a miss, and then the others, depending on the distance, tell me whether I hit or not. Okay. The skill shot, which is this one here, counts as a shot if my stat was 5 or better, so it's also a miss. I'd have to be really good at shooting. And then the rest of these are not good enough because I'm shooting with a pistol. So I actually did not hit him. Once that's done, and I spend my ammo there, now we go into melee fighting. And in melee fighting, each side is going to roll 3 dice, except for whoever has a better melee rating gets to roll 4, okay? And these are the melee dice. So my rating is 4, his is 3. I'm going to get to roll 4 dice. So I'm going to do that and roll my own. I don't even know where this was, but it goes there. All right. So those are my 4, and then he rolls his 3. And there he goes. Okay, now we compare what happens, all right? So each phase tells you what it does. And you have to, first of all, cancel the ones that did nothing. If I had rolled any X's, like that, then they just go away, okay? But besides that, the shields here cancel hits. And so this shield of mine is going to cancel this hit of theirs, and those 2 go away. All right? The card here lets me know that if he rolls a question mark, that is a hit with an extra wound, so that's pretty nasty. And then mine are the same thing. That's a hit and an extra wound. This is a hit, and my question mark, my bat tells me, is a hit, and he gets that arrow, which means he's knocked down, which entails that he will have 1 die less for following rounds of combat, okay? This empty one, just like in shooting, means you have to be really, really good. So 5 or better, basically. So that one's also out. And now we figure out what happens. So he hits me with this one for 2, because that's what he does. And I hit him for 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. And he would get knocked down, but it won't matter because he'll be dead, okay? So I've dealt enough to him to be dead. He's going to knock my life down pretty severely. And that's it. However, he did hit me, so I would draw a mutation card and deal with that, okay? Some of them say nothing. Some of them don't affect me at all, but some of them do. And so these, you are going to be getting them throughout the game. And at some point, if you have too many, then you reveal them all, you turn mutant, and now you're working against the humans, okay? So, that's how those work, and the cards themselves will give you the wound. So I've taken this guy out. I'm going to keep the card. I'm going to keep him for 1 XP, which is right there on him. And that, pretty much, is how combat works. So as you can see, lots of moving parts in this game. The manual here has lots of details in it. It's pretty well done, but there is just a lot of content to the game, a lot of learning rules and symbology you need to internalize and things like that. And then besides that, of course, the solitaire variant and a few other variants that I won't go into. But hopefully that did give you enough of an overview to give you a feel for the game and help you figure out if perhaps this is something that you would like or something that does not appeal to you. And that, in a nutshell, is Posthuman. As I said at the beginning of the video, there is a lot of things in this game, but it's a lot of little things, you know? No one part of this game feels that complicated, except maybe combat. I do wish combat was not as fiddly, I guess. There's a lot of, okay, they shoot, I shoot, but wait, what's that symbol on them? Oh, wait, they should have brought a follower with them, and oh, if I roll this face, then they do this thing, and it's... The cards are like this big, too, and they found a way to fit 12 things on there, so that part I wish was simpler. But everything else is pretty straightforward. You gotta eat, you spend the food, you pick a card, and it's, you know, I'm searching the buildings, you flip another card from a different deck, it tells you what you get. I get a weapon, what is it? Boom, you know, that's what I got. So everything else is fairly straightforward, yet there's a lot of little things, which I wish had been streamlined. I don't think this game needed everything that ended up in it. You know, now I realize that adds to the thematic aspect of the game, but it still could have done with a little streamlining, I think. And by that I mean removal of some things. There don't need to be that many little piles of cards around the table. You know, and the funny thing is that ultimately your entire journey does not feel that epic. You do a lot of little things all the way, you know, on your journey, but when you get there, you look down and realize your little map of tiles you've built is like 6 tiles big, you know, and you've got a few weapons, you know, and so it's not like the tale itself is grandiose. It's just you did a lot of little things to get there, you know what I mean? So that I find a little bit jarring, how little progress you ultimately make, but how long it takes to make those little jumps. Like, you know, oh, I have to fight a couple of guys, and so you draw and you read and you fight and you roll and you, I don't know, that's cool. But then once you've done all of that, what did you get? Nothing. You moved from one little circle on the tile to the next little circle. That should have been a little more streamlined, I feel, you know. So again, I have a few issues with the game, but having said all of that, I did enjoy my play of it, and that's even acknowledging that I don't think I'm exactly the target audience for this game. I think if you are someone who enjoys games that, for lack of a better term here, are on the fiddlier side of gaming, you enjoy dealing with all the stats, and you enjoy collecting the XPs and then kicking one stat up by one, which makes your shooting better. If you enjoy the varying monsters and all of their powers, the mutants, you know, then I think you might like this, because it is not in the American style game camp. And by that I mean it's just the mechanisms are secondary, and it's also not a Euro game. And that's it, you know. It's a nice combination of the two, and that comes through. That does work. So, the theme, thumbs up. I really enjoy this theme. The gameplay itself, a little streamlining, I think would have helped. But again, of course, that's just my opinion of it. And so there you have it. Posthuman.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.